Hidden on a quiet Manchester street, the Zimmerman and Khalil houses stand out, not just for how they look, but for what they represent.
I think these two houses in particular are unique for this part of the world. These are the only two Frank Lloyd Wright houses in the state of New Hampshire. There's only 5 in New England.
And from the outside, in.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Zimmerman house.
Thank you.
It's clear that the Zimmermans wanted something different.
They both worked at Sacred Heart Hospital in Manchester. They were interested in building their own house, but they weren't satisfied with the architects that were available. So they wrote a letter to Frank Lloyd Wright. He said, yes, I'll build a house for you.
That was in 1949, and by then, Frank Lloyd Wright had a global reputation as one of the greatest architects of all time.
Wright is credited with creating the American ranch, the ranch-style home, so the single floor. He really didn't like attics or garages or basements. He wanted to get rid of all of those things, so that life was just a lot more simple. This is called a Usonian house. It's short for United States of North America. The Usonian houses were meant to be really affordable during the Great Depression and World War II, so they had to be really small spaces to make them affordable. How do you make a small space feel bigger? Well, you start in an even smaller enclosed space, and then you open up into this bigger space. So that's called compression and release. That was Wright's ideal.
Even the windows were part of the plan.
And with this wall of street-facing windows, they're intentionally, it's a narrower ribbon of windows, so people can't look right into the house.
Privacy.
It's more privacy. But then on the south elevation, we get this really nice open view into the backyard.
It's gorgeous.
There's always this connection to the outside. Wright said every house is an indoor garden and every garden is an outdoor house. So when we look at this house, you know, we've got the planter beds here, and then there's the wall of glass and the planter beds just behind it. So you're meant to have this continuous look out into the landscape. So there's always this kind of blurring of the boundaries between inside and outside.
Wright also changed the way Americans think about living space.
The idea of the open floor plan really comes from Wright. In the Victorian age, there's all of these different rooms that define the different spaces of the house, but he breaks that up so that the occupants can flow really freely.
That freedom shows up in the furniture, too.
All of the furniture in this house is meant to be very flexible and modular. You're supposed to be able to move it around.
But these days, we buy a home, it's empty, and we go to the furniture store.
Yes.
That is not how Frank Lloyd Wright designed his homes.
No, he believed, and he is an architect who really popularized the idea that the house encompassed all of the objects inside of it. And so it was a sort of total experience, a total work of art.
And thanks to the Courier Museum, that experience is preserved almost exactly as the Zimmermans left it.
They bequeathed the house to us upon their passing in 1988, and we opened this house to the public in 1990.
So, Justin, I'm seeing pots and pans and dishes and pottery and artwork.
Yeah.
Are these all of the Zimmermans' actual belongings?
They are. So when the Zimmermans bequeathed their house to us, they bequeathed it along with all of their original belongings as well. And so when you take a tour of these houses, you get that slice of life experience, like Mr. and Mrs. Zimmerman just stepped outside the door.
And Justin, what's so special about all this is just steps away down the street, you can find another treasure.
That's right, and this is the Khalil house.
It's amazing.
The Courier purchased the second Wright home in 2019.
So there's elements of concrete at the Zimmerman house. By the time that we get to the Khalil house, Wright is experimenting with structures built entirely of this concrete block.
Wonderful. I can't wait to go in.
So this 1 foot by 2 foot concrete block, this is called the Usonian automatic building system. Automatic means self-built.
The idea was ambitious, affordable design people could construct themselves, but it didn't exactly catch on.
So there were 7 Usonian automatics constructed. Wright designed 21. Only 7 were built.
Now tell me about the Khalils.
Yes, so like the Zimmermans, they were both working at the hospital. They saw the Zimmerman house completed by Wright. They really loved it. They liked that idea of a compact space that was efficient to live in and was connected to nature. They wanted a retreat from their busy working lives.
What they got in 1955 was bold and deeply personal.
Yeah, they called it a sculpture. They said it was like living inside of a sculpture in concrete. So they definitely felt that it was a work of art. And I think a lot of that is with that natural light. And so the perforated concrete block, it becomes this screen. And so you get this really beautiful pattern of light that shifts throughout the day.
The light is creating its own design element in the home.
It really is.
Really amazing.
Wright's modern ideas are everywhere. Hidden televisions, radiant floor heating, built-in storage, elevated hallways, and sunken bathtubs.
And so that's because this house is built into the hillside. And so we're lower down on the hill when we're in the living room. We step up the hill when we come into the sleeping quarters.
Wow.
And so you're following the contours of the earth even when you're inside of the house.
Wow.
Two cherished family homes, proving that the spaces we live in can shape the lives we live.
There's a place for everything, and that's what I feel like most homeowners want in a home.
Exactly. It's all about small, invisible choices that end up adding up to this broader sense of harmony.
It's such a beautiful message. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah,
Special.
it's really inspiring. And that's why I think Wright continues to inspire people today.
Yeah, it seems like a simpler way of life.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.